as a day. So I usually tell my um, friend, I'm from Iran, but I live in Canada now.
Okay.
But I haven't been born in Iran, so I have been in different places. So you can call me as a day, like as a day.
That's it.
Um, Very nice to see you here, John. Um, and I'm very blessed that I have this opportunity to talk to you. So, in advance, I apologize because English is not my first language. So, if I just talk something, if you don't understand, just let me know. So, my question was about delusion, because we talked about lab and working, going back to reality and how to continue our world. I'm a neuroscientist, but I might be biased because I also these days I have MS, so I'm biased physically and psychologically. So I want to know what is delusion because
Delusion, are you saying?
yeah, delusion. You were saying that we are suffering from our delusion, hatred, and greed.
Yes.
But for example, when I see it for meditation, when I listen, when I look, when I sense, all these circuits and pathway that we were talking about coming to my mind, that it's not really reliable. What I see is not the reality. So it's like to my eyes, nothing is real. Even when we see something, I know that something else is going on. When we are breathing, I know what circuits are now activated, and I know that wow, all these things. So two things comes up when I do meditation, which is first, what is real, and second is my curiosity is always on the way, so it's like it doesn't let me liberate, or maybe it liberate and it goes back to another question or another burning question. Oh, what happened if this happens? I don't know if I'm talking, if it makes sense or not, but I need a little bit of guidance from you to see how should I conduct my, at least my career pathway, in order to be helpful for not only for myself and my curiosity, which is unraveling the brain, but also for other people. And how can I put that in a mindful way? I'm trying to write a review paper regarding this mindfulness, COVID-19, and breathing pathway, which is my specialty, but it's short term. How can I conduct that to a long-term pathway?
Did you did you say that breathing is your specialty within neuroscience?
Yeah, cardiovascular and breathing.
We need that big time. So first of all, nice to connect with you,
Thank
and
you.
um, and you're asking a very profound question. Are you still there? I just want to make
Yeah,
sure
I
you,
can hear
okay,
you.
because your picture is frozen, but as long as you're not, you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. So this is one of the things I've been pointing to from the very beginning, that when you start to formulate models in your mind and start inquiry around those kinds of questions, like what is delusion, what is true, what is a kind of, um, you can easily fall into kind of the tyranny of thinking, which kind of has a sense that you'll be able to think this through and tease out what's most important, and then come up with a kind of aha moment of realization where you'll understand the framework. That's almost impossible to do with thinking alone. That this is, it's not that it's not important. I mean, you couldn't really do neuroscience without thinking, the same way you couldn't invent an fMRI machine without understanding physics and thinking about reality.
Mhm.
But you're bringing up a very interesting question about the nature of reality, and what is mere appearance, or what is mere narrative or modeling, and those models are always like, in a sense, iterative, in the sense that, it's like a never-ending series of mirrors, that are reflecting each other back and back and back. And where do you land? So it's a very profound question. And what I would like to suggest is, rather than giving you some dime store answer in the few minutes that we have, I'll point you to a couple of places where I think you might find it really not only illuminating to start at these places if you haven't discovered them already, but also profoundly provocative in ways that could be model breaking within your thinking framework. So the first one would be a book with 3 authors from MIT Press called The Embodied Mind by Francisco Varela and Evan Thompson and Eleanor Roach. And the second edition came out in 2016 or 17, I believe. And it's about the interface of cognitive neuroscience, phenomenology, and mindfulness, Buddhist meditation. And Francisco Varela is the founder of the Mind and Life Institute and a really polymath Chilean scientist who did most of his work in France at the École Normale Supérieure, I think, or the École Polytechnique, probably that one. And Evan Thompson is an extremely, profound, gifted philosopher. And Eleanor Roche is a great, psychologist, scientist. The other book is even more far out and more recent, and it's by a fellow named Donald Huffman at the University of California, Irvine. And it's called, you'll love this, The Case Against Reality.
Oh, okay.
The Case Against Reality. And he is actually claiming to have sort of developed mathematical models for seeing the mind as an interface driven by evolutionary development. And so it's effective for developing what are called fitness payoffs in his terminology, like we evolved because it paid off, that we lived long enough to have children. But it doesn't necessarily give you a completely veridical analysis of the outer world or the inner world. Just take the example of, say, which I like a lot, the compound eye of a dragonfly. Well, dragonflies do amazing things, but the world that they see, which their eye is made up of hundreds of little mini eyelets. I don't know anything about dragonfly neuroscience, but they cannot be seeing the world the way humans see the world. But they see the world well enough to have lasted for maybe 1 billion years on this planet, where we're only, a few million years or 100 million years old or something like that. So it's a question of like, well, what is veridical and what is reality and what is good enough? And then is there a kind of ultimate reality? So this book, I think, will pull the rug out from under all your constructions, maybe give you a whole series of headaches, but at the same time satisfy something that it feels like you're really already in, having insights around the kind of limitations to the way we use language in describing interior experience, so to speak. And that's, I think, it's an ongoing, unfolding adventure, just like mindfulness. So there's no final outcome where we say, yes, this is what can be said about the nature of reality so far. But in conventional daily life, seeing the fleeting expression of pain or of interest on a child's face, for instance, that's about as veridical as you need to be, to live life fully. Or on the face of any other human being. So there are certain ways in which, whether it's appreciating nature or appreciating the true nature of each other, that there's such a range of potential for using the apparatus that we have with the brain that we have and the breathing and cardiovascular system that we have and the body that we have. We haven't even scratched the surface of whatever the multidimensional map is of what we're equipped to actually do. And from that point of view, delusion is really when you forget that and then believe some story that's only giving you a partial truth that betrays the full dimensionality of what we're given, what's given, you know.
And we yet don't know about that.
That's why I'm emphasizing so much don't know mind, the knowing of not knowing, the awareness of how little we know, but how much we actually attach to our thoughts and build models that we then believe are true, whereas they're only tentative hypotheses. And often our hypotheses are so partial that a good scientist shouldn't do this, but we do it all the time. It's like we believe the things that affirm our hypothesis and we negate all the things that don't affirm our hypothesis. And those things are other people that would then wind up othering because they're not like us. So it has profound implications on the social and political and economic level, as well as on the level of neuroscience and the deeper questions of phenomenology and the nature of mind and reality. I love that you asked this question. It's very brainy, it's very heady on the one hand, excuse me, but it's also goes straight to the heart of our humanity in a certain way. And so I bow to you for your engagement in this on a lot of different levels, because we need scientists who are willing to stretch the envelope in a really authentic way about what our true nature truly is, and investigate without prejudice.
Can I I want to clarify that for myself to see if I get you correctly. So is that okay? Because maybe I can say that there's a Persian poem that say that our job is not to unravel the mystery of a rose, but is to be afloat on its mystery. If I just translate
Which
that.
one of your Persian poets said that?
He's a contemporary poet whose name is Sohrab Sepehri. He has been very well known.
I only know Hafiz and Rumi and Kabir.
Yeah, and also Rumi
quite
says,
limited.
I'm not the person who has been 1 second ago. I'm not the person who you seen and painted 5 minutes ago. So it's like ever changing. So my question is that I want to integrate my brain with my heart, but I don't usually have this how to say, calmness to accept the reality, because I question myself, like because of the question and the curiosity that comes up. So sometimes I say to myself, like, good for people who has this prejudice, because they can be calm on that, and they can meditate on whatever they believe. But because I don't believe in whatever I gain now, because I know there is more, therefore there is no peace. Or maybe there is peace, but then it change, So how can I integrate while I meditate, shut down my brain, and then
You can't
accept
shut
that?
it down. That will just give you a headache. Oh, it's a wonderful question. Just let it flow. Okay, sit by the bank of the river and let it, do itself.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't really answer your question And you wouldn't want to hear the answer, but basically it's to not believe everything you think. Um, in fact, I used to have a bumper sticker that had the word everything crossed off and said, don't believe anything you think. To a first
Yeah.
approximation, okay? Because you have so many other multiple intelligences. So let's close out the day, and I'll leave you with a poem by Rumi, which is one of my favorites. Uh, and again, you're so resonant with this. Don't drive your self-question with answers. Just stay with the question for the next 15 or 20 years. Okay. And then you won't drive yourself so crazy when you're meditating, because it like a burbling brook, and it will just do what it does. And don't sit there with a pad and paper and take dictation from that part of your mind. Just let it burble. And if there's some profound illuminating insight arises, you'll remember it. If you don't, it's not worth remembering.
Okay.
Okay. So the poem goes like this. Today, like every other day, we wake up empty and scared. Okay. This is 900 years old, this poem, but doesn't it resonate? We wake up empty and scared. It's like, pandemic or no pandemic. Today, like every other day, we wake up empty and scared. Don't open the door of your study and begin reading. Take down a musical instrument, closest one being the body. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the earth.
Wonderful.
Today, like every other day, we wake up empty and scared. Don't open the door of your study and begin reading, even the books that I just recommended to you. Take down a musical instrument, the body in the present moment. Let the beauty we love, be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the earth.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have fun with that.
Thank you,
And
Jon.
then, I can give you the names of all sorts of neuroscientists that you would probably have so much fun dialoguing around these things with. Okay. And they may
Thank
be
you so much.
contacting you because some of them are on this call, I'm sure. And, so there could be a little subgroup of people who want to talk about these things, but don't want to get imprisoned by the talk
Yeah. Yeah.
or the thoughts.